Likewise.
Good, fantastic, folks. 8 o'clock it is. So once again, a fantastic welcome to the Wisdom's Tribe on this wonderful Wednesday morning, wherever you might be in the world. So welcome on board. Yeah, Lee, I think just straight over to you and let's get the show on the road.
Well, so good morning. Great to see everyone. We are, and I feel sorry for Ian, 7 o'clock in the morning, because we're diving into a deep subject, and that is purpose. So it's about thinking about what is it, what are we doing, and why are we doing it? When I was thinking about my own purpose, and just realizing that while there is a thread of reaching out to communities and helping people to, if I want to put it very, very simply, helping people to live according to their particular.
Oh, Lee, we seem to have lost you there. You've frozen in space and time. Folks, I think yeah, something seems to have happened to Lee's connectivity. Not too sure what's going on there at the moment, but she was there. She's gone offline. Okay, all right. Well, we'll just wait for her to come back. So I think we can probably kick off. I think we have the gist of where she was heading. Oh, there, you're back with us, Lee. Okay, fantastic. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know how that.
No,
so yeah, I think. I don't want to talk too long, but just to then pass the baton over to the rest of the group, just to say, you know, what does that word purpose sort of light up for you, and how does it relate to what you do, what you've done, and maybe how that's changed over time.
Great, thanks, Lee. Okay, well, let's dive straight in. So. I think we'll have to go to Ian Sherry because, as I said, there's a penalty for not pitching up for such a long time. So you're first on the block, Ian. So off you go.
Okay, I'm happy because I engage with this word a lot in what I do, and I think it's really important when you engage in this sort of space that people actually get their terms right. Because what I've found that we go to a meeting and people are all talking about purpose, but actually they mean very different things. So when I talk about purpose, I stand up and I bang the table and I say, purpose is that thing you're driven to do. Because there's a difference between the thing you're driven to do and the thing you'd like to do or want to do. Like, you know, I want to play golf, or I want to get on with people, or I want to work in the human domain, and that kind of stuff is, you know, I want to do. Then there's I need to do, you know, I need to go and have something to eat, or I need to put my clothes on, or I need to do this kind of stuff. Then there's that thing you're driven to do. And it says I'm actually prepared to get up and bang the table, metaphorically, to get on and do it. So that's what I mean about purpose. In there, I don't know how long Lee wants me to go on for, but I've got a sort of a story about that. That when we meet our maker, who I call Mrs. Good, because she's not a white old man, she's a colored woman wearing bright clothes. She says to me, I've got one question for you and all the rest here in the waiting room. She says, what did you do with the talent I gave you? What did you do with that special piece of me that I put inside you? And she's expecting an answer from us. And if we give the wrong answer, she'll send us through the red door. And if we give a good answer, she'll send us through the green door. So that's another kind of definition of purpose, is how are we going to answer Mrs. Good when we get there? So thanks for giving me a couple of minutes at 7 o'clock in the morning to talk like that. But it's a pleasure to meet you all. Thanks.
Fantastic, thanks, Ian. So yeah, I've always wondered what was behind the green door. So we'll get into that one later. Mpo, your thoughts?
Morning, everyone. I've been getting some private messages, people asking how I'm doing. I'm doing much better. I slept a lot. So on the issue of topic, of purpose, I haven't really given it a lot of thought because it's something that I've been struggling with for a very long time. What I do know now is that what really, really fulfills me and makes me feel alive and fulfilled and happy is when I teach. It's a late discovery in life. I'm 42 years old now, but it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. I don't know if that is purpose. But I want to stray a little bit as I'm listening to Ian talking. I was invited to Earn Your Income Summit on Facebook. There were thousands of people all over the world that had logged on to that summit. That summit ran for 2 days with multiple speakers every single day. And I'm thinking about everything that we discuss on here, how it applies to so many people around the world. And I just want to plant a seed for us possibly to have our own summit and put these issues on the table. I mean, a topic like purpose in itself could be something that can be explored. I'm just straying a little bit because I'm just, my mind is always working. That's why I'm exhausted. Thank you.
Good, thanks, Nzipho. I think it's certainly a thought, and it's probably a thought that's crossed more than one of our minds in terms of actually growing this thing to a summit. And so I definitely think we may well find ourselves heading in that direction. So thanks for that. Nzipho, your thoughts?
Thank you. I've probably struggled with this for a long time in terms of discovering what my purpose is. And, you know, when I do facilitate, I will always encourage people that, you know, it's best for everyone to discover what their purpose is. But I can't really say I've discovered what mine is. You know, somebody says that it's something that you can do even if you're not being paid for. Like, you know, somebody asked a question that if money wasn't an issue, what is it that you would do? And for me, that without a doubt would be enterprise development. You know, I find myself doing a lot of it for free, and I ask myself sometimes that shouldn't I be charging for this? But I can't stop doing it for free because I just, you know, I want to do it for whoever I do it for. So I don't know if that is what my purpose is, or if I'm yet to discover what my purpose is, but I'm certainly still searching, and I don't know how I will know. That's another thing. When I've stepped into my purpose, I don't know how I will know that now I've stepped onto my purpose. So I'm still learning a lot in that field. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Nzipho. I think you're asking the questions that many people do ask, so I don't think there's anything wrong with that. As long as you're asking the questions, I think you're probably heading in the right direction. Herman, love to hear your thoughts on this one.
Well, I think by doing what we love, at least it applies to me. I get to my purpose. And it took me a long time. I had a lot of satisfaction in different positions in different countries, but that didn't necessarily mean it justified the reason for me being on this planet. And eventually, when I kind of got involved in more social activities and seeing. Well, let me put it in a nutshell. My purpose is growth, yours and mine, whereby the emphasis is possibly on mine, because without kind of implementing these kind of things, I'm not authentic to others, and I can't contribute to their growth. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Herman. I thought we'd almost got you lost for words there for a change this morning. So. But thank you very much for that in any case. Steve, let's go across to you.
Thanks, Ivan. Been trying to decide what sort of thread I would pick up on as I'm listening here, and I'm wondering whether I'm going to stay away from kind of the burning thing under all of this for myself and move into sort of shallower waters. I see your hand, Ivan, and Trevor. So I think it's impossible to look at the word purpose without that word that Ian was talking about in terms of driven, and without investigating whether purpose is created or whether it is discovered. And for me, purpose is definitely something that is discovered, not created. I think if you can take a kind of social constructionist view on it, and that you will, discover what you create. But I think there is an unlocking as we go in life, as we discover this purpose, this why we're here, and it leads to some of the deepest questions in life that I think each of us have to answer. I'm interested in Ian's thought about Mrs. Good. That really stimulated me. And so I think, I'll leave that thing there, but I think each of us would have to answer this deep, deep, deep question of when you look internally and you discover what purpose really means, that it is something that is put there in some way externally. If you're not going to talk about it being created, about it being discovered, it is something sort of greater than oneself that you have to dig into to discover. But also I would say, quite subconsciously, I have always made decisions along the lines of purpose, just in terms of doing what I'm very passionate about. And I've allowed that to be kind of the guiding principle for much of my life, is doing, Azipa's question, what would you do if you had lots of money? You just do what you're passionate about. And I found that I've always tried to do that. And I remember the day that it finally came consciously to me was, I had a friend who's incredibly successful in business, incredibly. He's currently the African head of Nando's marketing and all sorts of other things. And we were at a braai one day, and he said to me, you're lucky. You do what you're really passionate about, and the rest of us are still trying to discover that. And I looked at him so strange, and I thought, what? Like, you're this incredibly successful person. How can you say that about me? And I finally discovered, actually, I am actually quite fortunate, because I've allowed that sort of purpose to drive much of my direction in life. And I think it's richly rewarding, without trying to pat myself on the back. That's not my purpose. I just discovered that in the last 5 years, that it is incredibly rewarding to discover the depth of purpose and to try and make decisions that align with that. Anyway, thank you.
Great, fantastic. Thanks, Steve. Tsela, let's go across to you.
Morning, everybody. What a heavy topic, but then this group is known for doing heavy in the morning, and I appreciate that. The one word that immediately comes to me is drive. And I think for me, to summarize purpose, well, for myself anyway, it's making that decision to be myself. I think that's when I started to then find a little bit of what I could call my purpose. Once I had just made the decision, you know what, I'm just going to be myself. Okay, self, what are you? What do you like? What do you not like? It's one thing to drink orange juice because you grew up drinking orange juice at home. It's quite another to decide that I like guava over orange. And that for me then symbolizes purpose. And the reason why I approach it that way is because I know that purpose has to do with fulfillment. I know that it has to do with contentment. And to do that properly, if you are someone who meditates a lot, is to bring yourself to the present. So for me, I'm more concerned with not worrying about purposes in the future, but thinking about what am I doing in the present? If I drop dead right now, would I be happy? Would I feel like I have done the things that I wanted to do, So for me, it's kind of more about that more than really the things that we then do, It's more, am I happy in this moment, in the present? And I'm really looking forward to hearing people like Jasper on this matter, because when I first met Jasper and he gave his gig message and he spoke about legacy, for me, it interpreted as purpose. I thought, yeah, my legacy is kind of my purpose. And I really understood him from that perspective. I really would be curious to hear what he has to say. Thank you, everyone.
Great, thanks, Sela. I love your ability to distill a complex subject like purpose down to a glass of orange juice. I think that's fantastic. And I think absolutely critical that people can realize that it can be as simple as something like that. So we'll definitely get to Jasper, but I'd like to pop across to Trevor first, because I'm sure he's itching to press that space bar and have some comment.
Sezu. Okay, so I just left a note in the chat bar, and for me, I think purpose actually changes from time to time, and I think people should not get confused with their own definition of their purpose and those that believe they have a higher purpose or some other purpose. And in that little chat bar, I just turned around and said, listen, for me, I want to wake up every single morning absolutely fired up, positive, passionate about the things that I'm doing. I want to ignore those people that are down in the dump and they doomsayers and those type of individuals. I just want to be happy. And if you're going to bring a cloud of blooming doom and destruction and gloom, and I'm not talking about rose-colored glasses, just get out of my life. I want to work with people who have a similar attitude to what I have. And I know that's difficult to find, but I lay everything down on a table, and my purpose is to wake up every single morning, be grateful for what I've got, be as happy as I can, and maintain who I am. Positive, passionate, driven, creative, the best of the best that I want in other people.
Great, thanks, Trevor. Let's pop across to Jasper.
Hi there. I think I like the ancient text, which helps to clarify a lot of the things we struggle with, and I've put there in the chat box just a reference to Philippians 2 verse 12 and 13, which helped me to unpack a lot of what I'm doing on a daily basis and through the many years of my life. But it link up with what Steve has said, and basically everyone else. It's just that thing that you can't help yourself doing. And even if you had all the money in the world, you would still do it. And if you don't have all the money in the world, like Paul said, I'll still do it. And it summarized for me. Now, I know it's a difficult concept for people who do not have, who believe in a creator with whom they can have a personal relationship. But what it says there in Philippians 2:13, for it is God who is all the while. Now, the verse before it just says, you have to work it out. So what Steve says, it's a discovery, and you figure it out by doing things that you just realize, this is not what I enjoy. Doesn't matter what they pay me, it's not what I want to do. And then you find things that doesn't matter how much you have to struggle and learn new things. You just love this thing, and we all have a unique space in this world where we are supposed to play. And until you find that space, you know, you're not a happy person. But for me, because we tend to want to change the world with our own strength, you sometimes are so frustrated because things are not working out. And what consoled me a lot was that last part that says, don't worry, because it is God who is working in you all the time, energizing and creating in you the power and desire, both to will and to work for his good pleasure and satisfaction and delight. And I think to the tune that we can become quiet in ourselves, and it's almost, on the one hand, go with the flow, but not in a way that, poor me, I can't change it. But like Trevor said, go with the flow with people that I want to be with, and keep on looking for the kind of flow that flows in the right direction with where I want to be. So it is something that I believe it has to be worked out. We have a unique purpose, and you are still finding your purpose. Doesn't matter at what age you are, but you're just getting closer and closer to it, enjoying it more and more.
All right, thanks, Jasper. Grant, let's pop across to you.
Morning, all. Yeah, for me, I think about this a lot, and purpose comes down for me always to teaching. As we go through life, we learn a hell of a lot of things, and I've got nothing else to give. I think even if I had money, I don't think money is the thing you want to give. I think teaching is the thing you want to give. I don't think giving money actually helps a lot of people. When it comes to a subject like this, I get my inspiration from Stephen Covey from 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, of which I'm not. But anyway, trying. but he said you go to a funeral and you're sitting in the funeral and people get up and start talking about the person who's passed away, and then you realize it's you, and you want to know, you want to think about what you'd like these people to say about you, and they're not gonna, you don't want them to stand up and say you really made a lot of money, he was really good in business, or you want him to say he helped people. You know, what is it you want him to say? What's important? And that's where I get my importance, or my what's the word you're looking for? Purpose. And from Trevor's side, I like the other thing that Stefan says is there's important things and there are urgent things, and important things are important to you, and urgent things are things that are important to other people. And you got to do both, but you got to balance it. So yeah, that's where I come in. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Grant. Right, I think I'm going to pop across to our newbie this morning. So Sally, good morning, welcome. Not too sure if you realize what you've gotten yourself into, but love to hear how you got to us and what your thoughts are on the discussion so far.
So, morning everybody. Thank you, Trevor. I had a little bit of trouble logging in. I've registered like about 5 times and I didn't receive the link. So yeah, no, my story of how I got here is I am a small business owner. I've just started a virtual assistant business, and my main focus at the moment is marketing, and that's actually how I came across Trevor. And then Trevor and I started chatting, and he told me about this group, and then I thought, you know what, I'm struggling at the moment to keep focus. I think a lot of us are. The lockdown it's getting to me a little bit, and I thought, you know what, I actually have nothing to lose. I'm going to meet new people, form new relationships, and yeah, and I think for me to start my day this way is correct. This is the right thing for me to do. And yeah, so on purpose is I'm actually loving just sitting hearing what everybody's saying. I want to say a special thank you to Jasper. Jasper, I think I actually needed to hear that this morning. But everybody here that I'm looking at is just so positive, and so I love to hear different opinions, different points of views, and it's so inspirational for me. I think when it comes down to what drives me as a person, and if you're thinking about money, whether or not money is an issue, when I strip myself down to the core of who I am, then I'm very passionate about people. I'm just passionate about people. If I've got money, I will help them. If I don't have money, I will help people. I think that falls in line, you know, with my main point of focus in business is industrial relations and human resources. I'm just super passionate about people, and I'm very involved in charity work, and I just absolutely love that, and that gives me purpose. I don't know if that's I don't know, Ivan, if that is what I was supposed to say, but I just felt that I had to say that.
Sally, whatever you felt you had to say is what you were supposed to say, so I don't think you must worry about that. There's no right and wrongs here. It's a group where we share our thoughts, and we encourage other people to think their own thoughts and you know, share them if they feel so inspired to. So thank you for that, and again, welcome on board.
Thank you very much.
More from you, Stella. I'd love to go across to you.
Morning, everybody. So there is a few, I can relate to what Steve says in discovering your purpose, because for many years, you've heard my story, for many years, I didn't know what my purpose was. And I think I discovered my purpose when I started going to the abandoned baby house and to homeless shelter, just to help other people. And also, Grant, you took the words out of my mouth about, I was thinking a lot about it one day at my funeral. What would I like people to say about me when I die? And I think for me is, if they would say, you know what, she was a person that cared about other people, then I think I fulfilled my purpose. that is, I think going together with that is to be authentic, because not, you know, people will very soon feel or see that you're not authentic in your caring. So to be always authentic in my caring, even in a small way, you know, walking into Checkers, greeting the cashier and the person that packs your groceries, morning, how are you, and with a smile, you know, making small differences in people's lives. So I feel that's my purpose. Thanks, guys.
Great, thanks, Stella. Nozipa, I see you unmuted. Did you want to say something quickly, or was that just by mistake?
Mistake.
No problem. Ian Johnson, let's go across to you.
Yeah, I think it's a collage really of what everybody's saying. Ian made a point on the chat there just now in terms of whether it's individual or collective. I mean, Stephen Covey's 7 Habits is one of my favorite books. But, you know, it's interesting when you say, what will people say at my funeral? And for me, that's not important, because when you go to funerals, people say nice things about the person that's passed away. It's just the way things are. So that's not important to me. What's important to me is how I feel about what I've done and whether I think I've made a difference in one person's life, 20 people's lives. And I think Trevor's right. I think our purpose changes. And when we get this word purpose, we now start on a treasure hunt to find out what this purpose is. And we start getting anxious and frustrated and worried about we can't seem to find our purpose. We really don't know what our purpose is. And I think what Steve was saying is I think it's something that you discover along the way. And you might go along many different roads before you eventually find something. My purpose at the moment, given the economic situation, is to teach people looking at some sort of other business opportunity that gives them some financial independence away from the mainstream financial world that actually is controlling everybody. So that's my purpose at the moment. It may well change, and there may be other things, but that's my drive. That's my passion at the moment. And so, yeah, it's interesting. I think everybody's got a very useful contribution in terms of what their interpretation of purpose is and what the definition of that word is, whether it's individually or whether we work collectively as a group, for instance, in terms of what we discussed the other day, about what our purpose is and how do we actually take what we're talking about and what we're doing on these chat shows every morning and make it into a meaningful platform that actually influences so many other people and gets them to think about these things that we're talking about. And maybe that's what Ian was alluding to, and I agree.
Great, thanks, Ian. Cecile, I'll come to you, Ian Sherry, just now. Cecile, your thoughts? Cecile, you're not with us. Okay, Ian, go for it.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, I'm here. What Mipo says, we've also been listening to the Real Summit 2 weekends ago and this past weekend. And as part of it, my husband actually signed up with a course with Joel Brown. And, you know, I'm actually surprised to hear that a lot of people on this group also says that they, for a long time, they didn't know what their purpose is. And I'm part of that group because it's not something that I think about all the time. It's something that I just do. Sorry, these are the games to just do. So I try to do every day I want people at my funeral, like you say, to not, I don't even care about people. I want my family and my friends to say that I lived my life with honesty, and even if I have to look at the things, I think, oh hell, I probably don't even have a strategy, but my strategy is also biblical, like Jason said, like Jasper said, yeah, to try and live your life in that way and to like people. So I was also thinking, what I'm working towards right now, and I guess your vision and your things changes. What I'm working towards right now is to be in a financial position that I can do the things that I like doing and helping other people. And although I am in sales, I am still a helping people person at heart. So I feel fantastic if I've helped someone with whatever I'm doing. The money doesn't actually come into it at all. And I do find myself often in business helping people to my own financial detriment, and doing things for free. So I would be a terrible coach that has to charge people money to listen to me, because I would just do it for free all the time because I just try and help people for free anyway. So I was thinking about that, maybe, and I've always said that maybe when I've now got enough money to live kind of freely every month, then I'll go back to the job that I started doing when I was 20 years old. Or maybe I'll even volunteer as a radiographer, because there you can help people and you really love people. So I don't know. So if I have to write down my purpose on paper, I probably am not there yet, even at the age of 60.
A fantastic 60 it is too, Cecile. So, Ian, let's pop across to you quickly. Well, part of my purpose this morning is to try and contain this discussion inside half an hour, which I've just failed on. But there are a few people I still like to get to. But Ian, you wanted to make a quick comment.
No, I think pass on to other people. I've had enough to say today. Pass it on to others.
Okay, great. Thanks, Ian. Guy, let's go across to you quickly.
Firstly, Sally, welcome. The initiative by Lee and Ivan and Trevor. Within 5 days, you're going to be a totally different person, and hopefully a better person. For me, purpose, I've been running my own business going into 23 years. So after about 2 years into my business, and I started my business when I was about 41, I then really, before that, I really didn't worry about this word purpose. I was just having a good time, etc., etc. And then I came up with quite a simple saying that I've made applicable for the past 25 years, and that is to be a growing, contributing person. So if I can grow every day and contribute every day in whatever good way I can, then I see that as being my purpose. And that takes me into the field that I'm in. And hopefully through that purpose of being a growing, contributing person, I can attract those sort of people into my life. Sometimes I haven't, but that's how it goes. But in the main, I've attracted those sort of people into my life, and it's really put me on a certain journey, for good or for bad at times. I agree with Ian. I'm not into the funeral thing. You did. That's how it is. You know what I mean? I'm not here for people to sit and say praises, etc. Because I know that, and without having an ego, that hopefully I would have touched a number of people on my journey, as I've been touched by a number of people. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Guy. Jeffrey, let's go across to you for your thoughts, and then back to Lee to wrap up.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Kind of joined the discussion a bit late. We seem to have technology issues with this thing. I think I need to get a new computer. But anyway, be that as it may. Yeah, your purpose. That's always the difficult. I was actually finishing reading a book last night, a book called The Climb by a chap by the name of K.K. Diaz. And in the book, he actually talks quite a bit about your purpose and the fact that for most people, it is one of the most scariest questions that they ever ask, or anybody ever asks. And people either sort of smirk at it, laugh at it, feel embarrassed. And I think most of us often ask that question, what is a purpose? And like I say, particularly, I mean, like I've been in my flat now for the last, I don't know how many weeks it is. I've kind of give up counting, pretty much on your own. And you do kind of sort of get caught up a lot in your head. I mean, literally, I went out when I go for my evening walk and I happened to walk past somebody I've had like 4 times where I've literally stopped and had a chat to somebody at the side of the road. But anyway, like I say, digress. I think, yeah, your purpose is something that I think evolves a lot as you move through life. And as you get older, your purpose changes. And yeah, possibly helping people. I think as you do get older, you have a little, with age comes natural sort of, how can I say, people kind of look up to you. It's kind of like when I'm walking around the flats now, my little nieces, they call me Jeffrey. I've never been Uncle Jeff because I've always said I've not been old enough. But the little kids that live in the flat around me, when they start calling you Uncle Jeff, and you kind of realize, well, yeah, okay, people look up to you. So I suppose that could be part of life's purpose, is to just help lead and guide. And as like I say, like Jasper and a couple of the other people said, yeah, what people say at your funeral, I mean, that really doesn't matter. Anyway, yeah. And also one last thing, I'd just like to thank everybody like Lee and Trevor and Ivan that actually put this platform together. It takes a lot of determination and a lot of time and effort. Lee sitting writing articles. I mean, I know a couple of else of you do as well. So a wonderful initiative to actually take something and actually create. I mean, I see there's how many people? 15 on this morning. Last time I was on, there was 5 or 6. So yeah, wonderful initiative, and congratulations to everybody that's actually put it together. Jeffrey,
Great.
Cheers.
Thanks, Jeffrey. Right, Lee, I think back to you just for a quick wrap up, and then we'll end off for this morning.
Well, thanks everyone. It's really good to have that input. It is a deep subject for 7 o'clock in the morning for Ian and 8 o'clock in the morning for us. But I think it just helps. The point is really not that we cover the subject, in all its depth and breadth in a philosophical way, but that we start to mull over the question, and that because we're doing it in the company of others, we get to hear different perspectives. And so that then triggers new ideas, new thinking that we spoke about it yesterday in terms of what are our blind spots, what are we not aware of. And Jasper spoke, that's why I think this whole idea of purpose came up, is how can we grow in self-awareness? And so the point of this is really that we stimulate that thinking, and then hopefully you have a chance to mull it over a period of time, so that you can continue to reflect and continue to discover. I love that word, discover. I love discovery because to me it speaks to exploration and adventure, and it makes it so much more exciting and enticing. So it's something that we can enjoy doing, and I think that's our natural being as human beings, is this exploration and discovery going forward. I'd like to turn it from, and I know Ian's talking about let it be communal, so somehow the communal and the individual are just, we were always kind of mixing and matching that. And it's also the difference between the unique and the unique and the universal. So I'm going to go unique and individual, and look and see how that can expand to the universal and the communal. And so Grant, I'm looking at you because I know a little while ago we were talking about stories, and I think you've now been in the loop for long enough, and wondered whether you would be up to telling your story tomorrow.
One second. I'm just checking the dairy, yeah? Yes, I'm fine for tomorrow.
Good. Good.
Thanks.
So Grant, if that'd be great if you could just share, and for those of you who are new on the platform, it's just an invitation to you pick and choose, how you want to share, what you want to share, and the idea is that we simply get to listen and participate in what's happened in somebody's life, and gain whatever inspiration and learning we can from that. So thank you, Grant. We look forward to hearing from you tomorrow. And Paul, just to give you a heads up that I'm thinking that maybe you will be next in a couple of days' time. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay, fantastic. Okay, thanks everyone.
Thanks everyone. Fantastic day further. See you tomorrow. Cheers.